Welcome to another episode of Becoming a Scrum Master. I'm your host, Ryan Ripley. Joining me today is Pawel, a fellow professional Scrum trainer with scrum.org. Pawel, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Ryan. And you?
I love the hoodie, and it's available in the store below. Squirrel Burger hoodie, along with the Agile for Humans. We're showing the merch today.
Very comfy hoodie, by the way. It's pretty cold here in Canada, so the hoodie is very appreciated by this weather.
I like that hoodie. I'm even like, it's so shameless around here. We got like the book back here. We got the hoodies. It's crazy. Let's jump right into it, Pawel. Can you share the story of how you first encountered Scrum and what motivated you to become a Scrum Master? Was there a particular moment or experience that sparked your interest?
It's an interesting question. I wonder if the first experience I really encountered Scrum really counts, because I wasn't aware I was doing Scrum until I had a training 2 years later that told me that the things that people were doing while I was a product manager was called Scrum. So okay. I'm not sure it inspired me a lot at this point in time. I was in product management, working with a back-end solution that we were deploying to banks. It was mostly about credit transaction contestation. So when you think that you're being frauded, you ask your bank to investigate, and this is where my product was picking up. And I was the product manager deploying this at clients, and my team was asking me to join some of these meetings. I never knew what the meetings were for. Most of the times I was joining it by phone, because I was outside of the country installing the software at banks locations. And they were asking me some questions, and I was answering some questions, but no one ever told me that the 15-minute meeting they were asking me to join from time to time was called Daily Scrum, and we were doing Scrum. And I was their product owner by deduction, because I was the product manager of the software. They were asking me to make some decisions. So that was my first encounter. It didn't necessarily inspire much confidence into the framework itself. But when I finally had a formal training by one of the first professional Scrum trainers, I think it clicked. It clicked. What I liked mostly was the self-managed aspect. I did recognize that my best experience leading to this training was with teams that were trusted to be autonomous, to deliver awesome stuff with little to no interference from the outside. So the self-management and the cross-functional aspect of Scrum spoke to me much more than just the visible part, which is the events, artifacts, and roles or responsibilities.
That kind of leads into this next one here. Was there a specific project or situation where you had a Eureka moment, something that made you realize the true power and potential of Scrum? And could you describe that experience?
Sure. I'm not sure it was a huge Eureka moment, but the first time I got a chance to apply a Scrum within a complex project, it was still within a program that was run as a waterfall project. I was entrusted with two teams in this broader program. We were working on a big ERP bought from a third-party vendor and implementing it within a company. And I was allowed to run my projects however I wanted and run my teams however I wanted. And this is where I figured, how about I play the project manager for the outside and leverage Scrum in the inside? So we did our best to set up boards. We were physically collocated, so it's pretty easy. So setting up sprint backlog, product backlog visibly. We did start organizing our own daily Scrum, our own sprint planning, sprint review, inviting stakeholders to share with them elements that were delivered. I was pretty fortunate that my part of the ERP was something that was well suited for incremental delivery. I was working on configuring the accounting module, which doesn't sound like something really incremental or iterative, but the basis was already there. So we could incrementally configure and make some reporting work, make some transactions work. So we could get feedback on it. And the other part of the software we were working was the reporting system. And reporting system, we managed to have business people sitting with IT people together and working daily throughout it. So getting direct feedback. Here is what I implemented. How does it look like on your end? Oh, that looks really awesome. How about you add this, adding this? So we were really doing this quick iterations and incremental delivery within a daily setup. And this is where I saw this powerful thing where business people and IT people work together around something that federates them, some common goal, and they learn together about their differences. They learn together their lingo. They learn together about what is really important to the other part. And I think this was the biggest Eureka moment, rather than working in a vacuum and then delivering and sending the software over the wall and then hearing some complaints from the other side. We were there literally having this dialogue, getting on together and understanding much better ourselves. Everyone was pretty upset when they finished the project, by the way, and they had to go back to their daily job. So it was pretty fun.
Oh, that's great. I mean, when people want to actually stay on a team or come back to a team, that's typically a sign that of engagement, alignment, all the things that we want to see, the trust, the safety. It's awesome.
And it wasn't an easy setting, because we had some challenges. Of course, it's not like everything is perfect and birds are singing and unicorns are living in a prairie. But we did have some powerful moments where this sense of achievement, where we feel proud about what we delivered, despite the odds that were against us in the beginning. So that was the very rewarding experience.
Very nice. How about this? How has your perception and execution of the Scrum Master role evolved? Or if you want to consider them accountabilities, that's fine too. Are there aspects of the role that you view differently now compared to when you first started?
I think when we started, at least when I started as a Scrum Master, I was paying a lot of attention to Scrum being understood and practiced, which is good, because when people are new to Scrum, it's really important that everyone understands how Scrum is understood and practiced. However, I don't believe I saw the next step in the game, which is going beyond the team level, going beyond the understanding and practicing. And I think that right now I perceive the Scrum Master's role as you are accountable to your team being successful over the long period of time in this organization. So you're accountable to this team being financially viable, delivering valuable increments, being seen as an example of how people should be working, getting better at working together, being more effective, losing less time in the process of working, becoming more reliable. So I see it much bigger than just a simple understand how Scrum works. And understand how Scrum works is already a big challenge in many places I've been with. And sometimes we even hit the wall, growing this understanding. But right now, I feel that Scrum Master role is much more than this simple understanding of Scrum. It's how you leverage Scrum and how you make your team successful over time with Scrum and with other, of course, complementary Agile practices.
Yeah, that shift to effectiveness and success for the team came about in Scrum Guide 2020, and that seems to be the major emphasis now, which I think it's a good shift. Not everybody likes it, but I thought it worked out pretty well.
I think so. I'm a bit upset sometimes when I ask a question from a Scrum Master who've been using Scrum for 5-6 years, ask them a question. So how much your team costs? How much value they deliver over the period of time you've been with the team? And very often people lack these answers because they focus on either the facilitation aspect of it or on the communication or the collaboration, which are good things to focus on. But this is done in the service of something else. Facilitation should be in the service of something else, not an end in itself. So
there is a hyper focus. It seems, and it could just be my bias, but it does seem like there's a hyper focus on facilitation and coaching, which don't necessarily lead to delivery.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that one thing that I did notice is the shift in the team once they have delivered an increment. And but an increment, when you mean increment, of course, between you and me and with other Scrum trainers, we understand that increment is something that can be put between the hands of people who will use it, who will leverage it in the daily life, in the real life situation. Once you have delivered something and you give it to your users and your users give you feedback, there is something that changes in team dynamics. And I feel that if we spend maybe half the time helping the team deliver this increment and half the time facilitating and coaching, we would be probably in a better position than spending 100% of time facilitating and coaching. So I feel that maybe the emphasis on helping the team deliver should be slightly higher rather than only focusing on these interpersonal challenges or skills. That's my 5 cents, and probably some of the people will be not necessarily very happy with this perspective.
I think it's spot on. So what advice would you give someone aspiring to become a Scrum Master? Is there a particular mindset, skill, or habit that you believe is crucial for success, experience? You know, what would you recommend here to someone who came to you and said, "Hey, I think I want to try this"?
This is it's an interesting question. It's like this exercise we do at the end of some of our trainings. What are the traits and skills you think are essential for someone to be successful in this accountability / role, whatever you call it? And one combination that I feel pretty powerful for a Scrum Master in particular is the combination of patience, because change doesn't come overnight, with resilience to continue trying. So you're resilient enough to continue trying, but patient, knowing that the change will not come overnight. I think this is a pretty powerful combination. It's almost this, I know that I'll be probably off or wrong, and I will probably fail and make mistakes, but I don't discourage myself from trying. And because I believe that at one point, things will be better. And by trying, I learn something that other people don't learn because they hesitate to try. So this would be a combination I would be looking for. Are you patient enough that you don't expect people to change overnight, organization to change overnight, but are you still resilient enough to continue trying and to continue learning by doing? It's I don't know if it's probably not necessarily the most actionable answer for someone who has never done even a class or doesn't know what Scrum is, but it's this mindset. Let's learn by doing, and let's don't discourage myself or expect miracles over one day.
Yeah. No, I think it makes sense. So, last question, Pawel. What is one book? Yeah, 5 questions, super quick, right? What is one book every Scrum Master should read? And it does not have to be an Agile book, does not have to be a Scrum book. Just one book that you think every Scrum Master should read.
Does that have to be your book, neither?
Does not have to be. I'd prefer it wasn't.
Fair enough.
They already know that this one's awesome.
Yeah, I mean the one that you're showing in the corner, but this one wasn't necessarily your book I was thinking about when it comes to Scrum Mastery. I was more thinking about the one with the fire extinguisher, which would be probably in my top 10. Okay. I wouldn't say it's the one that I would recommend on day one, but it's definitely my top 10. There are a lot of books that come to mind. I think that maybe the one that helps you the most get started might be the one that Stephanie and Simon wrote, Mastering Professional Scrum. I find that this one is a really actionable one that helps you get started. You're just out of the training. You've had some good ideas, but you don't know where to start. This book is almost like a companion to get you started, to start working on self-management, start working on DOM, start working on how people become more cross-functional, how people become more committed. It almost feels like a companion to beginner Scrum Masters. I wouldn't say it was the one that you learned the most if you're already experienced, but it's definitely a good one to get you started.
Very nice. Well, I appreciate that, Pawel. We will add that one to the list. I agree. Simon and Stephanie wrote a really great book in the Scrum.org series for the Scrum Master. I think everybody should read it. We recommend it during every one of our classes. And so that one will definitely make the Becoming a Scrum Master bookshelf. So thank you for that. Anything you want to promote or get in front of the audience before we wrap this one up?
Promoting. I'm not great at promoting. Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to work as a team and it's not working and you're upset and you're not delivering value, people are not happier day in, day out. Even if someone tells you it's Scrum, don't believe them. Something is not working. When people are not delivering, when impediments are not being fixed, where people are not learning, people are upset with each other, even if it's Scrum by name, it's probably not Scrum. So I invite people to go a little bit beyond and look for the why we're doing Scrum, what we're trying to achieve. And it's not supposed to be worse than it was before.
Yep.
So that might be maybe one thing to be mindful as you go forward as a Scrum Master.
Very good. All right. Thanks, Pawel. I really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you, Ryan, for the invitation. It was a pleasure.
Of course. All right, everybody, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Becoming a Scrum Master. Click that bell just in case. That way you get those nice alerts. Check out the videos that are popping up. It's our Scrum 101 and EBM 101 courses here on YouTube. They're free. Check them out. No excuses. Get going. Socials are usually up to date with what's coming next. Those can help as well. Be sure to leave questions and comments below. Questions and comments drive the channel. And if you ask enough questions, maybe Pawel will come back and answer them for all of us. For Pawel, I'm Ryan. Go forward and do some great Scrum things. Learn how to pronounce geyser correctly. And we'll see you next time.